Hello and welcome to Blogsprout. I'm LJ, and shortly I'm going to play a video of a keyword research method that I use, which is recorded a few weeks ago, but I was sick at the time. I didn't realize how bad I sounded, so I do apologize for me sounding stuffy. If you could tell, I'm even a little bit stuffy now with the sniffles. But I just want to preface that and, apologize for that. But I thought the recording was so good that I didn't want to re-record it because it was very authentic and a live demo. And maybe I'll do it again with another example, but I thought this example was really good. So that's why I'm leaving it as is. So again, I apologize for the audio and my voice, but I assure you that the information provided is accurate. So enjoy. Thanks. Hello and welcome to Blogsprout. I'm LJ and today I'm going to go through a live demo of one of my keyword research methods. So you're going to go along with me through this whole process. I'm picking a random niche, which I've chosen house plants, plants that you can have inside your house. So we're going to go through this method, which is mostly based on competitive, competitive analysis and essentially taking keywords from your competitors. So I don't know a ton about houseplants. So as you can see on my screen, I have my Google, the Google results open, but I also have Ubersuggest. So Ubersuggest is the tool that I mostly use for my keyword research. So I'm going to go through this whole demo using Ubersuggest. So what you see on the Google results, as you can see, there's kind of a lot going on. It doesn't look like a standard Google results. And that's because I have a couple extensions activated. So the extensions I have activated and I'm using is there is an Ubersuggest one, which obviously if you have an Ubersuggest account can significantly help you in more quickly analyzing the results. I also have Keyword Surfer and Keywords Everywhere. So Keyword Surfer and Keywords Everywhere are both free to use, and they will provide you with, some metrics. What we'll see is, I was just looking up common indoor plants, and if we look at this result, Keywords Everywhere will tell us the estimate monthly traffic for the entire site, which is 47,000, and the total keywords that it typically ranks for. You'll also see that there's another estimate, which again is from Keyword Surfer. This is saying it gets million monthly traffic, so it's a pretty big difference between the two, but the things that I typically look at are the number of words. This tells you how long the content is. And then there's a domain authority listed here with the estimated visits for this particular URL, which is 10,000, which is really good. And then at the bottom, Keywords Everywhere has their own reference for the domain authority. So when it comes to these tools, again, as everyone usually mentions, they are supposed to be used for a reference. So what I'm going to do first is going to be kind of a back and forth with Google and Ubersuggest. So let's just look at this 15 common household plants to grow. Okay, pothos. So I'm simply just going to enter this into the keyword research, keyword ideas tool on Ubersuggest and just see kind of what shows up. So it looks like it's confusing this with photos, but if we look here, there's a pothos plant which gets 74,000. That's actually pretty good. Pothos golden, neon, varieties. So there's a lot going on. So let's take a look at pothos varieties. It's got a 46 SEO difficulty. That's not terrible, but what we're just trying to do is find a keyword that we might target and find a competitor that is covering that topic. So I'm going to go, actually I'm going to leave this tab open. Pothos varieties. All right. So if we look at the results, okay, so the first one that shows up is this Ohio Tropics. We can see that there's a Moz DA of 36. That's actually a really good place to start. They're ranking for one, Pothos varieties getting 14,000. This is actually incredible. Maybe I have to start a site on this too. The second one is also gardeningchores.com. Both those have domain authorities of less than 40, which is a really good sign. Granted, you know, we'd love to see ones in the 20 or lower. Oh, and here's enterneverland.com. So even from this very simple results, we now have 3 competitors that we're going to look at. So let's just look at ohiotropics.com. So if we go to the keyword research and we do keywords by traffic, I'm going to put in ohiotropics.com and we're going to search that. So what this is going to tell us is what keywords are bringing in the most traffic for this domain. So we're going to let the system do its thing here and try to pull all of these, all of the keywords. So what this will tell you is the volume of the specific keyword that they are ranking for, the position they're in. It does say the estimated visits, but there's also the SEO difficulty. So the thing that what we can do is we can then evaluate this. All we're trying to look for is the keywords that this is ranking for. You can go and choose the top 5 or top 10 positions, because what you know is that this site is ranking for this keyword and it doesn't have an incredibly high domain authority. So if we take a look at the traffic estimation, we can get what Uber suggests says the domain authority is 36. It's, you know, it's not significantly low. You know, this is definitely more of a competitor in the grand scheme of things, but it's getting 300,000 monthly traffic. So it's definitely something to think about. So what we can do is, if we go back to the keywords by traffic, we can then export this to a CSV. I'm just going to choose to export it all right now. And it's going to download the file as a CSV. The next thing we're going to look up is this gardeningchores.com. We're going to do the exact same thing. So all we're doing right now is generating keywords that these other sites that are relatively low in domain authority are ranking for. And then once we have those keywords, we're going to then sort through them to get a list of keywords we can then go after. So I'm going to export this one as well. And the last one is Enter Neverland. So Enter Neverland seems like they have a number of different things that they are ranking for. If we look at, they have some plants, but there's also some birds. So again, the sites might not be exactly related to what your you know, what your site is going to be about. For example, Enter Neverland looks like it's more than just a houseplant site, but there seem to be plenty of keywords inside this website that your site would be able to compete for. So we're going to export that as well. All right, so we're back. And what I have done here is I've converted the files that were downloaded from CSV and added them into a regular Excel document. So as you can see, I have 3 different tabs for each of the 3 sites that we checked. So what I want to do now is I want to go to add this filter. You can't see that. So I want to add this filter to each one of these tabs. And what this is going to allow me to do is sort through all of this data. You can do some of the sorting through Ubersuggest, but one of the reasons why I like to do it in Excel is that it's easier to take a look at the positions this way. All right, so the estimated visits is not something we're going to care about. We're mostly going to care about the positions, So the SEO difficulty, this is just a factor that Ubersuggest creates. So it's based on whatever algorithm they have in place. But we know that based on the research and the domain authority, that the difficulty is relatively low. Again, you take everything with a grain of salt, but this provides you with some guidance. So what we're first going to do is we are going to filter out everything for the positions. And one of the best ways, at least to start, is just take the top 5 positions that this site is ranking for. So what this is going to do is filter out all of the results and only spit out anything that the site is ranking for in position 1 to 5, excuse me. And then we're going to sort by largest to smallest in the volume. And now we have a pretty good keyword list organized by volume for what this site is ranking for. So we can see this site is ranking in the top 5 positions of, over 260 keywords that have over 1,000 search volume. So that is a great place to start. And then if, we can't really decide another way to identify this, we can then sort more specifically through the SEO difficulty. But this is just one website. So obviously string of turtles wouldn't apply to household plants, but this now gives us a whole list of keywords that we know we have a chance at ranking at. So let's do that for the other result. So we're going to select the position. We're going to select the top 5. Then we're going to sort from largest to smallest. So, whoa, that's really interesting. This site is ranking for the term oak trees at position 3. That's pretty wild. That gets 110,000 searches a month. And that seems very, very broad. So that's really interesting. But you can see daisy flowers, tropical flowers. These are very broad terms. So seeing a site like this rank in the top 5 for these large terms gives you a ton of confidence that you might have a shot at getting some of the traffic. Again, this is a ton to sort through now. So you have to be slightly strategic in the keywords that you pick. But this is a very simple way to generate a whole bunch of keywords to then analyze. So let's do that for this Enter Neverland. We know that this Enter Neverland site isn't just on household plants. So what we see is probably going to be slightly different. But we will sort from position 1 to 5 and then largest to smallest. Again, this is a really, really simple way to get some really good keywords. But, we're just trying to crank out content that may have a chance, using this method is great. Again, you shouldn't just take these results and go with it. There should be a little bit more research. I've always mentioned that I like to do things in clusters, so we could take a look and see if there's any trends across these 3 different sites. So it looks like these palm trees, types of palm trees that wouldn't fit into household plants. Plant for terrarium, that's actually pretty good, because you can get a list of plants for terrariums, and then so let's just take a look at those results. Plants for terrarium, and when we search that, my Google does something funky. When we search for terrariums, let's look at the Ultimate Guide to Terrariums, Ambius. So we're looking for, I thought we were looking for a list. Okay, that's odd. Here we go. 15 terrariums. Artillery fern, aluminum plant, interesting. Polka dot plant, prayer plant. And what we can then do, oh look, the pothos. So what we can then do is think that, okay, plants for terrariums might be a pretty good topic. This site is ranking in the top 5 for a very, very high volume keyword. And then we can think about, okay, if we have a full article about terrarium, plants for terrarium, we could then have an article about this pothos, and we can take a look and see pothos variety. All right, that's a good sign. They're also ranking for that. Varieties, pothos types. So we're seeing that there's kind of a cluster about this terrarium plants. So let's look up this croton. They're also ranking for that, croton varieties. That is 13,000. So this is giving us, an idea and way to see that if we went for this cluster, we have a chance of ranking because we know someone else with relatively low domain authority is ranking for that as well. But a way we could take a look at if it's worth it is we can go back to the SERPs and do just some search analysis. So plants for terrarium, super high volume. We see that there's a domain of 76, pretty high, but here we go, terrarium tribe, that might be another one that we used for this method. That's only as a 33. Another 33, gardening chores, that's the one we know of. And then one with 29. So seeing 3 results with around a 30 domain authority is, in my opinion, a really good sign that there's relatively low competition. And again, you're looking at a 27,000 search volume for the month, which I think is really, really impressive. So even if you were to get on page 1, you would probably get a lot of traffic just from that. And again, the way to approach this is, yes, that would be your keyword, but then for all the plants for a terrarium, you'd have a list, and then you would have other articles about each of those different terrarium plants. And knowing that, for example, this gardening chores is ranking for these same keywords in the top 5 positions, the entire topic is relatively low domain authority. So that's the general process for looking at these keywords, is finding a competitor for a keyword that you'd maybe like to go after, generating some ideas for Ubersuggest. Again, without Ubersuggest, it'd be much more difficult to generate this massive list. But Ubersuggest, the way I like it, is it's a one-time fee. And it's not recurring, and it's definitely cheaper than many of the other tools out there. And it'll generate thousands of keywords in those 20-30 minutes that we just spent finding these keywords. And now we can save that data and relook at it in the future. And we can do this for all of these different websites. We just did it for gardening chores, but we can do it for that's so hard for me to say, Enter Neverland, or we can also do it for Ohio Tropics. But we would use the same type of method as we'd look at a general topic it's ranking for and then find ways and find keywords to create topical authority by, by writing about a cluster rather than a specific keyword. So that's kind of the strategy that I typically or I do sometimes use. There are multiple strategies that I use on all my websites, but this is definitely one. And especially for a brand new site, it's a great way to filter out some of the content that you're going to start with. Because you do really need to kind of focus down on specific topics and clusters in order to gain any kind of traction. At least that's what I believe. You don't want to just go out and write an article on all of these top keywords, at least in my opinion, because it looks like, there's no real unison and connection between all the keywords. It's just random articles put together on a single site. There, of course, is a chance to rank for them, but I personally believe that the clustering technique allows you to get there a little bit faster and helps Google acknowledge that you have, special expertise in a specific topic. So, I hope you guys enjoyed that quick walkthrough. We can definitely do more of these in the future if they're helpful. And if you want me to do this for a specific topic, I can do that if you want to write a comment. But all this involves is that Ubersuggest tool, those free Chrome extensions, and then just a little bit of work. But we spent half an hour and I already have an idea of if I were to start the site, I would write about plants for a terrarium. That would be the first thing I'd write about. And then I would have to do some research and find out what the different types of plants that can go in a terrarium, and then write individual articles about each of those different types of plants, see if there's other keywords about those plants that would entail writing about a more specific aspect of those plants. But it's a great way to start. You just analyze other competitors that are relatively low in their ranking, and if they're doing well, you have a chance to do well in the future if you have the appropriate authority and expertise. So I hope this was helpful. Thank you for sticking through to the end. Please comment, like, subscribe, everything. Love feedback, so I really appreciate you guys tuning into the channel. So I will see you in the next video. This is Blog Sprout. I'm LJ. Bye.